Hello and welcome to the Champions of Europe Talking Reds special live from lovely La Rochelle. I am Dan Austin. I'm joined by Craig Hannan, pouring me champagne. What more can you ask for? I've also got Ian Ryan next to me as well. And the most splendid Atlantic Ocean backdrop you could possibly wish for the day after your team have won their 6th European Cup. Craig, the best weekend of our lives.
Oh my word. I'm just having a big Champions of European Cup winners glass of champagne here.
I'll have a Champions of Europe bite to this glass as well.
Oh yeah, everything becomes Champions of Europe now, and I just had a Champions of Europe piss. We're going out for a Champions of Europe dinner tonight. And yeah,
Champions of Europe piss. Fucking hell.
Everything. We're now Champions of Europe, and for the next year, no matter what any sort of opposition fan or anyone might say, what anyone might have to say about Liverpool or this Liverpool side, I'm just going to respond to them with we're the Champions of Europe. And you know, it's what a weekend. And what I've loved today on the bus coming back has been sort of just watching all the videos of everyone everywhere, if you know what I mean. So Liverpool looked chaos. Every single bar, every single sort of venue and space was filled with Liverpool fans from all over, travelling to the city because they wanted to be in Liverpool for that moment. You know, the supporters clubs videos all around the world, and then of course those either in Madrid that were at the game or Madrid in Madrid city centre, and it's just been brilliant. And there's no better feeling than waking up the day after and it coming to you, and you remember watching Jordan Henderson lifting it and crying as he's hugging Klopp, and remembering Trent Alexander-Arnold running up to the away end and then just doing the 6, and just remembering all of the players running towards the away end. It's everything you want as a football fan, and today, you know, you can't beat this feeling, really.
I love the idea of the giving it the 6, because 5's dead easy, but we've got to settle on like a standard for 6. Like thumb feels like the right way to go, but index finger as well. You know what I mean? We need to settle on a symbol, don't we? Really?
I've been doing the index finger, but
I
think maybe the thumb might be the best one. It's one to think about. We've got
3 months before we play a proper game of footy again, really, haven't we? So plenty of time to decide. And then after that, Ian, we've got 12 months of telling everybody that we are the champions of Europe. We've been telling everyone all season long how good this footy team is. And people who know about football knew it anyway. But lots of people won't acknowledge that, won't respect that until you've got a big shiny silver thing to show off. And now we get to laud this. No matter what happens, Liverpool could lose every game in the Premier League next season, every game in the European Cup, all of the domestic cups as well. And we still get to go to Anfield every other weekend and to away grounds every other weekend and sing that we are the champions of Europe. We get 12 months of being the smuggest twats about, and I cannot wait.
And I'm banging into it as well. And I mean, I'll have no issue telling anyone that we're the champions of Europe. I'll be a little bit upset if we lost all of our games next season though, but you know, hey ho. Last night, I mean, I reiterate everything Craig said there. I think last night we did the pink, and it was really hard to find the words, to be honest. It was such an emotional night. Everyone was drained. It's hard to find the words to describe what these footballers have done, what this manager's done, where he's taken the club since he started. It's phenomenal stuff, to be honest. And you know, we touched on one or two of the stories there, but it was great to see Henderson lift the trophy, the emotion in his face, how much it meant to him. He's hugging his dad as well, which looked like a really special moment. There was loads of little side stories where it's kind of pulling at the heartstrings, but it's just really nice to see people having a good time. And that's what we've seen loads of fans having a great time, whether you're in Madrid, whether you're back in Liverpool, whether you are anywhere across the world. And those players, they deserve everything that's coming their way in terms of all the plaudits.
Craig, we always say that we do things in ways that no one else does. And I don't think... Some people think that that's just us being overly romantic and stuff, and I get that, but I think unless you live it, you don't understand what that feels like. That moment where they've had a sort of few minutes where they've all dropped to the floor post full-time whistle, and they've all hugged each other, and then they run to us. They run to the end, every last one of them, and they all do different runs, and they all jump at the end and do their own little thing, and you're trying to watch all of them to see what they're doing. But that's so incredible because we're so attached to this group of footballers, aren't we? We genuinely feel a kinship, a relationship with them that I think isn't necessarily the case with other clubs, and isn't the case with past Liverpool sides that we've had as well, where they felt sometimes a bit prima donna-y or a bit detached from the city. They live outside and that kind of thing. But it feels like these lads all get us, and they wanted that. Obviously, loads for themselves and for their manager and the coaching staff and the people they work with, but they wanted that for us, and we wanted it for them. And that kinship, that genuinely special relationship is so powerful, isn't it?
Oh my word! The hairs on the back of my neck and on my arms just sort of rose there as you talked about them all running towards us, and I think you're right. I think that's something that Jurgen Klopp's tried to do from the beginning. Really, is that bond between those in the stands and on the pitch, and it just feels like we're as one, really, rather than we're the fans and usually the lads usually the multi-million-pound footballers or whatever. On these massive wages, but we feel as if we can connect with them, and we are connecting with them, and we've connected with them through massive games against Barcelona. We see that at the end when they're singing "You Never Walk Alone" with us. Even their videos and stuff. I loved that they were putting the videos up from the dressing room afterwards last night of them all singing "LA, LA, LA," and that's. They're doing that they're doing that so that the Liverpool fans can sort of see, we get to sort of have a little eye into the dressing room, and look, opposition fans quite often will accuse us of Liverpudlian exceptionalism and what you just said there of over romanticising things, and especially with Liverpool in Europe, but I just think this run in particular and last night. It just shows. You see the video of Mourinho and Wenger. Have you seen that?
Yeah, really good.
Where they're in the studio and they're just watching "You'll Never Walk Alone," and they're saying how powerful that is, and Mourinho says himself, he's like, I have no words to describe this. They're just different, and that's true. Like even. You sort of saw the difference in the ends last night, and by the way, it seems that Tottenham fans, Liverpool fans got on absolutely fine. City absolutely no problems, and it seems that on the whole they're sound. We spoke to quite a few at service stations, but the thing about when I got in the ground that I noticed was the Spurs end was just a bit empty and weird, and the Liverpool, at the beginning before the match started. And the Liverpool fan was just flags everywhere. There was, pyro going off, and it was just you saw the difference. Them waving their flags and us spelling out "You'll Never Walk Alone." It's so powerful what we've got here, and it makes it even more special that we care so much about these footballers. I think the fact that I feel as if I could really get on with them all.
Yeah,
I'd love to get on with them all, and just become. If any of us are watching, lads, just. Our offices are in Man Island. To
be fair, mate, you have met a few. I mean, not as if you're not knocking about with them now and again. You know what I mean?
Well, I know we'll get onto this eventually, but it feels like there's a few Anfield rappers are going to become mates with them after the players' party last night. They seem to somehow get into that. Gibbo was DJing.
He did all right. I mean, there's a few of them there who are going to have nights to remember for the rest of their lives. I think Dan's point about relating to the players is really interesting. I touched on it on a podcast coming into Madrid where. It's the first time, for me, you're able to kind of relate to millionaire footballers. I think it's a really hard thing to do, and there's been lots of Liverpool teams in the past, lots of players in the past who you're back because they are your lads and they're wearing the red shirt, so you feel it's a duty, but you might not like them, but you have to kind of back them. With these boys, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like, as Craig said, every single one of them is a good lad. They get the club, they get the fans. I mean, most of them have mentioned the fans in the kind of post-match reaction stuff because they know how much it means to us. We can say how much it means to them. You don't have to go that far back in this club's history to see tough times, bad times, where you now appreciate these good times, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a crime to enjoy it. I think some fans look at us and think, well, look at those lads there, why they know they're having a great time, and they kind of poke fun at that, if you like, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Sometimes you've got to go through those tough periods, Hicks and Gillette, even last year in Kiev, that wasn't great at the time, but it makes you really, really kind of relish these moments even more. I mean, we could not be doing it any better, and this club absolutely knows how to do big football matches and big games, and last night was another huge example of that. And as I say, you start to wonder really where this Liverpool team can go under Jurgen Klopp, because the potential is absolutely endless.
I think the perfect comparison point for how special and how much it meant to all of us in that end last night and the footballers is Kiev. In the Real Madrid players and supporters in Kiev could barely have looked more nonplussed when they lifted that European Cup, most of them were gone before the Liverpool end was empty, and you compare that again to last night, and I'm sure it would have been similar for Tottenham as well because it would have been their first and stuff. But Ian, I'm wondering when this exhilaration wears off, because like it has to at some point, doesn't it? At some stage, it has to. You know, you sort of go back to reality and everything. But I think it could be month to month, you know, because until they actually start playing footy again, this is what you've got in your back pocket. This is the most recent thing. This is what you live your summer by now. It dictates your entire mood for that long. If we'd have lost, I think we'd have spent June, July and August just feeling terrible until they had a chance to right that wrong. Now that they've actually done it, they've got over the line, they've won a 6th European Cup. How long do we feel this buzzing for?
I mean, it could go on for a long time. I mean, losing the match was unthinkable, really. And I know we didn't want to talk about it because the consequences, the fallout from it would have been huge. And you can convince yourself that we would have been all right because the manager's great and the players are great and he would have galvanised them and we would have regrouped and gone again. All of that may or may not be true. I mean, we don't have to think about it now, which is fucking great, you know what I mean? But it could have been so different. But you just felt that the players were desperate to harness any disappointment from last year to ensure that they absolutely got the right result. And whilst I thought it'd be a close game, and it wasn't a great game, let's be honest, you know, it very rarely turns out that way when you've probably got two teams from the same country. I think it's difficult because they know each other so well. It wasn't a classic, but it just didn't matter. No one cared. The players don't care. We won't care. No one's thinking about, you know, tactics or how the game went. It was just absolutely vital that the club won that football match, and that's how it's transpired. And in terms of how long we go on about it, well, fuck me. I mean, it could be months and months and months.
I think you're right. I think that this feels to me, and I know it's easy to say this the day after you've just seen them lift the European Cup, but this feels to me like it's almost this is the beginning now. You know, like. We left Kiev last year, we were all disappointed. We were like, no, this isn't the end of something, this is only the beginning. But I think that, you know, getting the first trophy out of the way for Klopp and it being the European Cup, that can propel us to so many things. And I said yesterday's Talking Reds from the fan park, the bit I was just nervous about was I felt like this game was just, it was pivotal in that it could go either way. It could set us up now as the beginning of a dynasty of winning trophies every season, or if you lose it, how do you come back from getting beat twice in the European Cup final and losing your last 4 finals? And so I think this feeling will continue. I think we can beat Man City in the Community Shield. We then we win the Super Cup. You know, we just keep winning.
That's that treble. Call it a treble. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, just on that. I mean, imagine how tough the Community Shield would have been just to even go there or even think about going there, knowing that they'd won the league and we'd ended up with nothing. And you know,
we will now turn up at Wembley and think about being champions of Europe for 90 minutes or possibly 120, and it's going to fucking kill them. Honest to God, like, remember when we all thought we really wanted to win a Premier League? How stupid we were! How stupid we were! This is well better.
I know,
it feels so much better.
You're right, and like if Liverpool had at some stage over the past sort of 30 years won the Premier League, then and we said to you, right? So you know you've seen us one stage in your life. You've seen Liverpool win the league. What won in terms of enjoyment and fun and travelling all over Europe, and do you know what I mean? That the experiences that you gain, which one would you rather? And you know, European Cup is the most exciting. We're sitting on a 2 months ago. We were like, yeah, we really want to win the league, and today we're sitting in Soccer Reds going, this is well better. Fuck the league. But I think. You know, there is, like, City haven't been in my mind at all over the past couple of days, and now you mentioned it, and I think about the Community Shield because that's the next one. You know, it must really kill them because they had this thing with us last year where they sort of felt like they didn't get the credit they deserved, and that all the the media attention was surrounding Liverpool's run to the Champions League, and then they had that this year where around the final day and about the media wanting Liverpool because they're the story and they're the clicks and all of that. It must really kill them that they win the league and then 3 weeks later they have to sit and the most recent thing going into the new season, they've had to sit and watch us win the trophy they haven't won, and they can't get by the fucking semi-finals. Yeah, cheers.
All the best. Ian, you were one of the people that watched the game in the city, Madrid, not in the ground. There's most of the reports seem to say that somewhere between 50 and 60,000 Liverpool supporters ended up travelling. Therefore, the vast majority did not have tickets for the game, you would presume. There'll be some in neutral ends on top of the 16,000 that Liverpool had, but it's still a majority that didn't get to go. However, the day as a whole, the days that led up to it, everyone, that amount of people being in that city, taking it over, people from, loads on loads from Liverpool, loads from the surrounding areas, but loads from all across the planet as well, all coming together because of their, frankly, lunatic levels of adoration for a football club. Is just unique to this, isn't it? There's nothing else that brings people together like that. And these events, we've been fortunate to do 2 in a row now, and 3 in 4 years under this manager, 3 in 3 attempts at European tournaments. It never wears off, that thrill of being there with everyone, with people that you know and you love, your mates and your family, but also absolute strangers, but that you've got this really strong common connection with. It's unbeatable.
It is, and I think, in terms of the numbers that kind of descended on Madrid, I think maybe it was underestimated just how many Liverpool fans would travel, because the city struggled a little bit with kind of accommodating what was over there in terms of fans and stuff. And I watched it with Rob Gutman and Ben Jono and Kopi. None of us had tickets, we couldn't get tickets, and it's not the same as being in the stadium. I mean, that's for certain. It was still a great night, and it was lively and stuff, and you're with your mates, and it was great to be with other people, like-minded people who were desperate to win a trophy. But it was tough watching you lads go off to the game, not going to lie, waving it off, and you obviously want to be there, you want to be involved in that bit in terms of the stadium, the build-up, seeing Henderson lift it live. So that was tough, but I wouldn't change it, Dan. I was thinking about it before. We were chatting to Craig off air, and he said, well, would you have still come if you knew you weren't going to get a ticket? Absolutely, because you can't replace these moments. I mean, they're absolutely huge. They are huge in your life to be able to say, I was there when Liverpool lifted the 6th European Cup. I was involved, I was part of that. I was there when we had that huge day at the fan park, which was absolutely unreal. When you posted something, Craig, and I looked at it, because obviously we were kind of like next to the stage, and you posted a video, and I looked at it and thought, I can't fucking believe what I'm watching here. It looked like something out of Glastonbury.
It was like live.
It was unreal.
It went back. You couldn't see the back, and it's last year we came away from Kiev, and everyone spoke about we lost the final, but we had a brilliant day, didn't we? Shevchenko Park was something else, and there was this romanticism around Shevchenko Park. And I was a bit worried about Madrid, to be honest, because I was thinking there's going to be loads of people here, and it's the Athens effect of missed out in Istanbul, so go to Athens, and that similar thing with Shevchenko Park, and it was unbelievable, and fair play to the club, and fair play to likes of Webster, and obviously Neil and John from one of our own, like they were on first, and they were absolutely brilliant. And
smashed it, mate, to be fair.
It was just from start to finish, it was brilliant. Timo was on stage, he played a few songs, it was just brilliant, party atmosphere. A sea of red, and I saw a little clip of the Tottenham fan park, and they had a tent with like DJs and stuff, but it was nothing like what Liverpool had managed to put on there. And just the idea that there are so many that have come to Madrid and didn't have a ticket for the match. Well, I love the fact that they got to do that. I love the fact that you got to enjoy that day with us, because it was special, and we shouldn't take that for granted just because we did Kiev last year. It doesn't happen every year, and it could be, you don't know when your next European Cup final is, you don't know when you get to do that again with all your mates, you don't know when you get to meet new mates. Think of how many new mates you've met from following Liverpool this season, never mind your lifetime. You don't get to sort of share that experience with them. So yesterday was just probably special, and it was breathtaking watching it, just sort of watching it and thinking like, my God. So yeah, it was great that so many people got to experience that.
Right, I want to talk about one last thing before we go. There will be loads more on the Anfield Apps Tour Player Service or League Exclusive podcast today. There are 2 post-match shows, one from in the ground, one that we did on the bus as we travelled here to La Rochelle in the immediate aftermath of the game as well. There'll also be a review show, a sort of tactical look back at how things went. Plenty as well on the YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe to that as well as the Tour Player Service. But Craig, before we go, I want to talk about how much Divock Origi means to us now, because there's going to be plenty of time for us to talk about all of them as individuals, and we haven't got that time now. But the fact that he does it again, like I was talking to a few people last night, and you remember that Everton goal, right? That's about the 5th best thing he's done now this season. And really, it should be the best thing he's ever done in his life. But then it was superseded by Newcastle away when he kept us in the title race. Then it was superseded by the 2 against Barca. And now it's superseded by what was effectively the winner in a European Cup final. The one that gave us that huge let-off at the end that was the mixture of elation, joy, relief as well there at the end. he's not like a cult hero. He's not just someone that, you know, Weird Al fellas will tell stories about. I mean, us being those Weird Al fellas in a few years to come. He is genuinely a legend of the football club.
That was what I was about to say. I was about to say, at what stage do you go from being a cult hero? Because a cult hero, he was described as a cult hero, and it was almost like a bit of a joke figure at times after that Everton goal, the manner of the goal, the fact that he hadn't played.
It's patronising to an extent, isn't it? The phrase cult hero,
exactly.
And you can't patronise a lad who scored the fucking winner in European Cup final because he's good. He's really good.
I am so made up I'm so made up for him because. You know, he's done things there that, you know, club legends at Liverpool have not done. He's done things that footballers can only dream about. The top elite footballers can only dream about. Think of all the footballers in the world that have not scored 2 in a Champions League semi-final and then scored the goal that you know, tells the Liverpool fans that they're about to win the 6th European Cup, and that's huge. And I'm so made up for him. I really am. And it's also you know, that's. Other players, if I'm Jurgen Klopp and we've got players in the fringe who are struggling to get in, they haven't had many chances, maybe they aren't performing I'd be looking at Divock Origi and saying, look at him, he went out on loan at Wolfsburg, doesn't work out for him, then he comes back and he's, you know, talking about being sold, he could have left in January, scores the winner in the Merseyside derby, scores the winner in the game to keep the Premier League title race alive, send it into the last day against Newcastle, scores 2 against Barcelona, and then scores the goal in a European Cup final, and is absolutely magic that fall. And I made up for him. Club legend Divock Origi. Who'd have thought that at the start of the season?
It doesn't matter now what Divock Origi does or doesn't achieve in his career. He'll never ever be forgotten. He's now written himself into this club's history, and that's an unbelievable thing. I mean, this club is absolutely gigantic, and he's played such a significant part in that. And I mean, he must be thinking to himself, you touched on his loan spell there, Craig. I mean, he must have thought his career was really kind of petering out a little bit, which sounds strange given the age, but, you know, you could easily have seen a scenario where it goes the other way and he just starts to drift from league to league or down the leagues, and now he finds himself being an unbelievable figure in this club's history, and that's a sensational story.
Right, that is about all that we've got time for. Thank you very much for watching this. Thanks to Craig and to Ian for joining me. Whatever you do today, this week, for the next 12 months, do it as a champion of Europe. Take a leaf out of Craig's book. Really good bit of wordplay from me there inadvertently, because I was going to say have a champions of Europe piss.
Lad, I've got a shower to sort out. I'm not going to fucking lie, there's issues in my room.
Have a champions of Europe cup of tea. Have a champions of Europe. Walk down your stairs in your house, whatever. The most menial things, make sure you do all of them as a champion of Europe, because these Reds have gone and won a 6th European Cup against Tottenham Hotspur in Madrid. The greatest weekend of our lives. Make sure that you're still absolutely buzzing and do so for as long as possible. For now, thanks for watching, and up the champions of Europe!